Have you ever stopped to ask yourself just how deep America's debt problem really goes? Because here's a number that isn't just shocking, it's historic. $1 trillion. That's how much Americans now owe on their credit cards alone. Let that sink in. $1 trillion. To put that into perspective, if you stacked $1 bills on top of each other, a trillion would reach the moon and still have enough left over to buy half of Manhattan. But this isn't just a quirky math fact. This is a looming crisis that's quietly building beneath our feet. A financial fault line. A ticking time bomb buried in our wallets, bank accounts, and national budgets. And the longer we ignore it, the closer we get to detonation. You see, debt isn't just an economic concept. It's become the lifeblood of American life. We borrow to buy homes. We borrow to go to school. We borrow to keep the lights on during tough times. And now we borrow just to get through the month. It's no longer a tool, it's a lifeline. And like anyone running on borrowed time, the bill is coming due. From billion-dollar government bailouts to the everyday swipe of a credit card at the grocery store, debt has quietly woven itself into the DNA of our economy. And the problem? We're addicted to it. This isn't fear-mongering. The signs are all around us. Rising balances, surging interest rates, more people missing payments, and a federal government sinking deeper into the red every day. And it's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet. This affects you, your job, your savings, your rent, and your future. So today, we're breaking it all down. We're diving deep into this $1 trillion credit card crisis, looking at how we got here, what's accelerating the problem, and most importantly, what happens when the music finally stops. Because this isn't just an economy running hot, it's a pressure cooker. And the question isn't if it explodes, it's when. Let's not sugarcoat it. America's debt problem isn't just concerning, it's historic. In 2023, for the first time ever, credit card debt in the United States surpassed $1 trillion. That's one with 12 zeros, owed by regular people, families, workers, and students on plastic. And we're not just talking about mortgages or student loans. This is high-interest revolving debt. Debt that gets more expensive every single month it isn't paid off. Some credit cards now carry interest rates above 25%, and that number's still rising. Think about that. Every swipe, every small emergency, every unexpected bill adds fuel to a fire that's already burning. Even scarier, most Americans aren't keeping up. According to a 2024 report from the Federal Reserve, over 50% of credit card holders carry a balance month to month. That means they're not paying it off. They're stuck, often paying thousands in interest every year just to stand still. Now, zoom out. Beyond personal debt, there's a bigger elephant in the room: national debt. The U.S. federal government now carries over $34 trillion in debt. That's more than the entire GDP of the country. It's like trying to run a household where your yearly income is $60,000, but you owe the bank $500,000, and you keep borrowing more every year. The interest alone on this debt? It's projected to hit $1 trillion annually by 2026. That's just to pay interest, not the actual debt. And who foots that bill? You do. Through taxes, inflation, and rising borrowing costs across the board. And it doesn't stop there. Corporate debt has also exploded. With historically low interest rates in the past decade, big companies went on a borrowing binge using debt to buy back shares, expand operations, or just stay afloat. But now, with rates rising sharply, many of these companies are struggling to make payments. This perfect storm, rising personal debt, ballooning government deficits, and corporate borrowing under stress is what economists are now calling a debt bomb. And like any bomb, it doesn't just tick quietly. It threatens to detonate when the economy slows, when interest rates climb too high, or when consumer confidence starts to crack. Right now, millions of Americans are one missed paycheck or unexpected medical bill away from financial disaster. And what makes this different from past crises? It's not just Wall Street exposed this time, it's Main Street. From the young adult juggling 3 credit cards, to the retiree paying off hospital bills, to small businesses trying to make payroll with shrinking credit lines. This is a national issue with deeply personal consequences. In other words, it's not just bad, it's bad and deeply personal. Right now, over 50% of Americans with credit cards carry a balance month to month. Not because they're reckless, but because they can't afford not to. Groceries? Up. Gas? Up. Housing? Don't even ask. And while prices rise, wages have stayed nearly flat when adjusted for inflation. Add on rising interest rates, and suddenly that credit card you used for emergencies now charges over 25% APR. Every $100 borrowed costs you $125 just to break even. Now, multiply that by millions of people. But it's not just households in trouble. The US government itself is in the red, big time. As of this year, the national debt has exploded past $34 trillion. That's more than the entire American economy produces in a year. Even worse, $1 trillion of that is just interest payments. Money that doesn't reduce the debt, it just keeps the machine running. This is the real danger. Personal debt is rising. Government debt is rising. Business debt is rising. And when everything rises at once, it creates a financial time bomb just waiting to explode. So, how did we get here? A big part of the story is low interest rates. For over a decade, borrowing was cheap. That encouraged everyone, consumers, businesses, and the government to spend more, borrow more, and kick the can down the road. Then came the shocks. COVID-19 hit, and the government responded with massive stimulus packages. While that helped in the short term, it added trillions to the national debt. Now fast forward to today. The Federal Reserve, trying to control inflation, has raised interest rates at the fastest pace in 40 years. What does that mean? Every loan, credit card, mortgage, and government bond just got way more expensive. On top of that, the US keeps running budget deficits, spending far more than it earns through taxes. So it's not just about spending. It's about spending more, borrowing more, and then paying more to keep up with the debt. We're stuck in a loop. A very expensive, very dangerous loop. In early 2024, the Congressional Budget Office issued a stark warning. If nothing changes, interest payments on the national debt could exceed defense spending within the next 5 years. Think about that. The US will soon be spending more to service its debt than to defend the country. But here's what's really sent shockwaves through the system. A top economist from JP Morgan Chase recently predicted that unless spending is drastically reduced or revenue increases, the US could face a debt spiral by the end of the decade. That means higher debt leads to higher interest, which leads to more borrowing, which leads to even higher debt. A vicious cycle that's nearly impossible to escape. And this isn't theoretical anymore. In August, Fitch Ratings downgraded US credit from AAA to AA+. Why? Because of political gridlock, reckless borrowing, and a lack of long-term fiscal planning. It's like maxing out your credit cards, getting a warning from your bank, and still throwing a party. The debt bomb isn't just ticking anymore, it's glowing red. We're living in a time when borrowing fuels everything, from groceries to global defense. But eventually, the bill comes due. And when it does, it won't just affect Wall Street, it will hit Main Street the hardest. The $1 trillion debt bomb is more than just a number. It's a mirror reflecting years of risky choices, short-term fixes, and political stalemates. If ignored, the cost could go beyond dollars. It could mean instability, higher poverty, and a generation burdened by decisions they didn't make. So the question remains, is there still time to defuse it? What do you think? Is the debt bomb real or just political fear-mongering? Because this isn't just finance, this is your future. Comment below. Do you think the debt bomb will explode in our lifetime? And if so, what's the first thing you'd do to protect yourself?